Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that the meeting will be useful to you. We have two great speakers today, Alexey Shevtsov, UX designer at DataArt, and Alexandra Ivanchenko, product designer at DataArt. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat room after the speakers' presentations. After the meeting, we'll share the presentations and the recording. And now, passing the virtual microphone to Alexandra. Alexandra, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and hello, everyone. So let me start screen sharing. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Hopefully you can see the screen now. Wait. And let's start with our presentation. Today we are going to talk about incorporating AI into product design. And working on the presentation, I just decided to split it to a theoretical part. And here we'll take a look at what is AI and why should designers care. And particularly for the theoretical part, I used Edesktopus. This is an AI tool that focuses on creating presentations. All the theory has been created by the Edesktopus. This is the home screen of this service. You can simply start the presentation from scratch, start with the template, or create with the AI. Let me play video so that you could see how I did that. You can type your topic or choose from the pre-selected ones. Then you're choosing the audience, also the goal of what do you want to achieve by the presentation, the duration, and the general look. And here it is. Let's take a look of what did it came up with. And the first slide here is the definition of what is AI and why should designers care. And let me read it real quick. So artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science that focuses on creating machines and performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. And of course, when you're working with AI tools, it's essential to remember that while those tools can create and improve user-centric products by saving time and energy, the ability to bring some creative alternatives is pretty much limited to humans too. The next slide here represents the benefits of incorporating AI into design. Let me list them. So the personalization is the first one, because AI can analyze user data and behavior, and it allows us to create more personalized experiences for users. Efficiency, because it can automate repetitive tasks, and for us designers, it helps because we can focus on more creative and complex work. Accuracy, it's really good in the predictions and recommendations. They are more accurate, and this allows us to reduce risk of some errors in the design process. Innovation, this is, I believe, really self-obvious because it can generate some new ideas and solutions that has not been considered without using those tools. And last but not least here is cost effectiveness. Since AI can reduce time and resources that needed for design projects, it leads to cost savings for business and clients. But the next slide, you can see that the speakers provided us some common misconceptions about AI and design. So what are those misconceptions? The first one, and I believe that this is the most relevant for all of us designers, is that AI can and will replace designers. And happy with that this is a misconception, at least this type of things. So because creativity and empathy to this point is still limited to humans, and instead AI tools can augment our abilities and organize our workflow better. The next misconception sounds as AI is a magic solution for all design problems. And of course, I believe this is also not true, because still any tool requires careful consideration and evaluation in the design process. And of course, it's not one size all shapes or all fits solution for all design problems. The next one sounds as AI is unbiased and objective. And of course, this is also a misconception, because important to remember when working with AI that it's only as unbiased and objective as their creators are. So basically, when working with the AI tools, we need to be aware of potential biases and take steps to avoid them. And unfortunately, because of that bar, you can't see that. But let me actually do that. Yeah, AI can design on its own. And for sure, it can just give us some alternatives, but still, it requires some human input and guidelines. And to this point, designers must work in a tandem with AI tools in order to achieve some optimal results. Okay. Let's proceed to the tools and resources for AI-driven design. Here you can see listed some of the tools, and I believe some of them are already familiar for you, such as Figma plugin, or if you're using Sketch, it also has its own plugin. For Adobe users, there is an Adobe Sensei, and also a desktop is listed IBM design language and Google Material Design as examples of AI-driven tools. Okay, but what are the challenges and limitations when using AI? And what are the ways to overcome them? The first on the list here is the lack of creativity and originality, and I believe this point has already been kind of mentioned on the previous slides, because of course it can generate some designs, but it may lack some creativity and originality. And to this point, designers need to find balance between utilizing AI and incorporating their own creativity and unique perspectives. The next one sounds as limited understanding of user context. And for now, of course, AI tools can understand somewhat a context and previous requests. However, when we are talking about some complex context, it still can struggle with them. That's why designers need to be careful when consider some limitations of AI. And last but not least is ethical concerns that surrounded AI-generated design. Because unfortunately, AI can perpetuate biases and reinforce some harmful stereotypes if they are not trained or implemented properly. And given all of that, designers need to be aware of some potential risks when they're using AI design-driven tools. Okay, important to notice here that ethical considerations is a separate slide, because this is a really essential part when working with AI tools. And some of the ethical considerations that designers should keep in mind include transparency, accountability, and fairness. So designers should be transparent about how they use AI and the data that they collect from users. And this transparency should be between designers and their teammates and the clients, and of course the end users. And also they should be accountable for any decisions that made by AI systems and validate them if they are really unbiased and fair. And to ensure that those decisions are really responsible, we should follow best practices such as design for human values, and ensuring that AI systems are explainable, and testing AI system for biases. So we should remember about potential risks when working with AI. And that's pretty much it for the theoretical part. I think that it's not really long. So let's proceed with the practical. And here we would explore how we can use ChatGPT for design purposes. First of all, let's see what this tool is good for, and we can see the list of things which we can do and rely on the ChatGPT when working on them. First is analyzing, because ChatGPT can look for keywords and do sentiment analysis in long text blocks. And it's not only limited to analysis, because it can also synthesize some new outputs based on any text input. Self-obvious is writing. It's really the task that ChatGPT can work easily and really good. But it's also pretty much creative, since it can generate wireframes or SVGs or HTML11 code. Personalizing, so you can put your user persona, and ChatGPT can personalize the output based on the persona's criteria, and researching. And I believe that this tool, ChatGPT, is really good at the researching, and can help us with that part. And given all that, I've suggested to have user research for food delivery app as our practice. And I believe that food is a good topic because it's tasty and everybody loves that. So let's start with the competitor analysis. And first thing that we would need to do is to identify common issues that all products in the niche have. So doing the request for the ChatGPT and asking what are the common issues with the food delivery apps. So as we can see, this is the list that the tool provided to us, and it's too general. For example, such points like poor user interface, it's not really specific, but some of the points are super helpful, like payment issues and inaccurate order fulfillment. So Now, when we know issues, we can go and proceed with the competitor analysis. Let's try to identify our direct competitors in the niche. We're asking to name popular food delivery apps for European market. And it came up with 10 competitors. I believe that the answer is more than accurate because in addition to names, we have also some geographical component of our direct competitors. So I believe we can really work with this data. Now let's try to identify the market share. And here, I want to pay your attention that it's already worked with the context because I'm asking for the market share based on the previous request. And see what are the results here. Okay, the result is pretty much cut off, as we can see, due to the provided reasons. However, it has some also point for us that maybe some additional research could be needed, and this is also some of the things that we should consider when working with AI, right? We cannot only rely on the data that the tool provides to us, because it also can be limited for some reasons. From what we have here, we can see that Just Eat and Uber Eats are the biggest competitors. So let's proceed with analyzing them and see what customers like and dislike about competitors. And just to simplify our presentation and not to waste a lot of time, we go with the Just Eat, I'm sorry. So let's see what our customers like about Just Eat. The information here is a little bit general, so we can see some points like user-friendly interface, right? But also, I believe that such points like discounts and promotions and customer services really helpful for us, that those are mentioned, and we can take it into account. Those are really important for our users. And let's see what our customers dislike about competitors. And see the list of 6 points. I believe that additional fees and limited availability are the main areas that Just Eat have problems with, but also want to mention that pay attention here. We see also customer service, and I believe that previous slide also had this one, customer service. So this point is included in both sections of what customers like and dislike about Just Eat. And this is one more point of for us to validate the data that we received from the AI tools, because it could be biased and it could be irrelevant to some point. Okay. Now then we know our competitors, let's define our key business metrics. So asking ChatGPT to provide key business metrics for a food delivery app. And items that are listed here are pretty much, again, general. Some of them are the metrics that are used for the biggest amount of apps, right? Such as average customer acquisition cost or retention rate. Those are really familiar to us and not pretty much specific. But metrics like order volume and average order volume or customer satisfaction or delivery time, they are more specific, and this information, those metrics could be helpful for us when we are working with the research further. So let's define our user's behavior and start with creating user's persona. Based on what we have, I requested ChatGPT to create some user personas for a food delivery app, and it has some it provides us an information about 4 personas, about their age, occupation, tech proficiency, lifestyle, needs, and some general contextual information. Important to note here that I didn't specify my request. I didn't ask for the specific criteria for the personas, but ChatGPT did the work really good. I believe that those criteria that are listed are pretty much common for the personas. But of course, if you want to make it more specific and use some specific criteria, you can do this in your request. Okay. Now when we know personas, let's create our user journey. And ideally, we should create user journey for each persona. However, again, I just didn't want to overload our presentation, so that I created a journey for a typical user. And let's see what are the points. First is download and install an app, then browse restaurants in menu, enter delivery information, confirm the order, track the order, rate and review, and repeat the process. So I believe that the journey is now pretty much detailed, and we can definitely work with that. And now it's time to write the use cases when we know user journey. So let's see if ChatGPT is able to do this task. My request is really general here again. I just simply asked to write use cases for food delivery. And I believe both of us know that the use case has a particular formula, right? As a user, I want something in order to achieve something. But I didn't put the formula to the request. And it was really interesting for me to see what can ChatGPT do to this point. And I would say that the listed points are pretty much the overview for the functionality, but not the use cases. They are not built by the formula. However, again, if we want to use them, we can adjust them properly, or simply put our request, this formula to the request, and the answer would be more specific. Okay, now that we know the information about our use cases, about our customers and our competitors, let's see the interaction patterns for our target audience. And see the points that the tool provided to us. And again, I'd say that it is too general, but there are also some useful things like personalized recommendations, and real-time tracking, also a seamless integration. So some of the things are really general, but some of the points are specific. And again, we can adjust it, we can add our versions, our points to this, but as a good start point, we can work with that. And now it's time to proceed with the insights and prepare questions for user interview. Let's see what we can get from the ChatGPT to this point. So asking it to integrate some questions for food delivery app user. And it gave us 10 questions. I would say that they're really good. It's a solid list of questions. But of course, when you're working with this method, you can think of some follow-ups and create your list based on the different ways of conversation with the users. However, this list is again a good start point and a way for us to work further with the interview. And that's pretty much it. Now we are ready to work with our end users, with our customers. So this is all from my part. Thank you very much for your attention. Hope it was not really bored for you. And I'm happy to pass my word to you, Alexey. Thank you.
Thank you, Sasha. Hello. Let me check if I'm demonstrating something. Okay, I really hope I do.
You do.
Hello, my name is Alexey Shevtsov. I am a UX designer in DataArt. If you hear some screaming, this is my cat saying hello. I have something like 13 years in graphic design. And today I'm really fascinated about how AI design reshapes the industry I have known. This picture is generated by Midjourney. The background is generated by Midjourney. Everything is going to be generated by Midjourney soon. And I will try to pass some knowledge that I have gathered. Some of the essentials. Midjourney is a text-to-image neural network. This is not the only one, but I believe this is the best. There are DALL-E, there is DALL-E, Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion is very promising since it is an open source tool. But if you're looking for the best results and the easiest, I would say, you should look at Midjourney. Midjourney operates through a Discord chatbot. You type in some text prompts, you wait for the result to be generated, you upscale it, and here's your picture. That's the basics. And the last thing here, Midjourney is a paid product. They have a trial that they turn on and off again. But basically, you have three options. For $10, you will have a limited amount of generations. It will be enough to try, but if you're going to work with it, don't do it. You'll be throwing top-ups like in a casino. Don't repeat my mistakes. There is $30 plan that will get you unlimited amount of generations. And for another $30, you will get practically only one option, but it is valid because this option is the private mode. Everything you generate in Midjourney onto basic plans is basically for everyone to see. Midjourney has a showcase on their website, and everything you upscale is going into your personal gallery and anyone can see it. So if you're under any kind of NDA or other legal obligations, you'll have to use this private mode. And a little bit about why you should or should not consider Midjourney. To wrap it up, Midjourney is your new photo stock. Illustrations, photos, scenes, elements, everything. I had a subscription to Deposit Photos and something else. I have dropped it because I don't need it anymore. Besides that, Midjourney is very good in stylization, like if you want something to look like something else. It's good for inspiration, for art, and some other things. What it's not particularly good for is any task-driven design, including UI designs. The problem is Midjourney doesn't know how to type. For example, it doesn't know words, but sometimes it tries and it gets you something that looks like writing. Perhaps if I try to write in Chinese hieroglyphs, I will do basically the same. And the same principle stands for any UI because Midjourney doesn't know what UI is. It only knows how it looks like. So can you create a user interface in Midjourney? I would say no, but you can get a great inspiration. The other thing, I will mention it later, Midjourney is not very good for real objects, real people, and some just random stuff. Midjourney doesn't know how a bow looks like, a bow with an arrow, or a unicorn. Midjourney doesn't know how unicorn looks. So, getting to the point, Midjourney is completely unpredictable. This may come a little disappointing, but when I started working on this guide, I was actually looking for some patterns, for some algorithms, for something you can reuse. But basically, I come out with this wisdom: Midjourney is unpredictable. You always have to try and repeat. Where do you start? I recommend to start with a simple prompt and then add specifications, different types, different media types, different references. I don't really want you to browse through all this list. I just wanted to show you how much you can specify with a simple text prompt. The two things I wanted to emphasize. First, there are tools that are called prompt builders. There are plenty of them, and basically they are the library of all the prompt elements that different people used. We will share, I think, this presentation, and there is a link to my favorite one. And the other valuable thing here, this thing is often missed. Midjourney learns on the internet posts. And if you try to generate a design, for example, or a piece of art, it will learn from Behance, Dribble, and so on. And it will learn from the comments. So if you add really ridiculous part of the prompt, like very good, excellent details, masterpiece, and so, you'll actually get a better result. You'll try it, it's kind of magic. So let's create something. Here is a T-Rex graphic designer, which is basically a graphic designer. Stupid jokes are the best, I'm sorry. And this is a T-Rex graphic designer in a specific environment with specific elements, the laptop. I don't think it's particularly 1950s, but, well, the clothes maybe. It's kind of dreamy. So you can see a lot of things changed in the image with the text prompt. The first thing we'll get in the advanced part is the punctuation. This is the prompt anatomy. You can add the text prompt with some operational elements. We will get to this. You can add reference images to the prompt by putting the reference image URL. If you don't have this image uploaded, you can just drop it into the same Discord bot, and then it will have a link from the Discord server. And this is the part with the parameters. They modify basically the previous part. Reference images and text prompts can be typed in any direction. You can start with the text prompts. That doesn't matter, but the parameters always go on the side. And the thing I actually had to Google for some time is Midjourney does not recognize any punctuation symbols above of the operational. So it basically means two things. You can design your prompt any way you like. I usually use commas, and most of the users use commas. That does not help Midjourney to understand what you want, but it helps you to know one part of your prompt from another. If we step back, you can see here a T-Rex graphic designer working in a cafe, comma, laptop, comma. Basically, you usually change something between the commas to get a new result, a new try, and so on. But you can organize it in any way. Some use brackets, any way you like. One way to get Midjourney to know what you actually mean by typing is called multi-prompts. I don't actually know why. It's the name from the documentation. Basically, it is the way to divide two parts of the text prompt. So this is Snoop Dogg, and this is Snoop Dogg. This is Johnny Cash, and this is Johnny Cash. So double column attached to the left part of the prompt divides it from the rest of the prompt semantically. And the other way is called text weight. Text weight is a numeric value that empathizes some part of the prompt. It can be added to any part of the prompt, basically to any word. The default is 1. The limit is hundreds. You will never reach the limit. You don't need it. Usually, to make one part of the prompt bigger than another, you use 2 or 3. and those weights can be negative, but the overall sum of the text weights should be positive. This is a T-Rex astronaut somewhere in space. We wanted him to operate a spaceship. Well, that is a cool picture, but he operates nothing basically. So we emphasize T-Rex astronaut operates, this is the main word, a spaceship, this is the second main word, and all the other words have the default text weight of 1. And you can see that we got to results, and it is quite acceptable. We can play with it any way we like. I personally believe this is very cool. But as I've mentioned, Midjourney is completely unpredictable, and you will never know what you will get. Sometimes it just ignores text weights in any way. The next big part is using the reference images. There are two basic problems. The first one is you will always get only the rough likeness of the reference image. This is very bad if you came to Midjourney to create a personal avatar. This is a hype thing. I have seen a lot of tutorials on how to get your photo look like cyberpunk, just punk, Renaissance, any way you like. But if this is the main purpose for you of using Midjourney, then you should consider other neural networks. There are some that are trained basically only on faces. They create only faces, but they are good with resemblance. With Midjourney, you only get rough likeness or enormous number of price. I have found this gentleman somewhere in this talk. Let's try to create an anime character of him. This is a reference image plus a simple text prompt. Well, we see some inheritance, we see the pose, maybe even some, I don't know, some traits, but I don't think that is what we wanted. We can emphasize the weight of the reference image to make it look more alike. This tool is called image weight. Basically, it works like the text weights with one simple difference. You can only add one image weight to the whole prompt. So this is the reference image plus the text prompt plus the image weight to maximum. The maximum image weight is 2, the default is 1, and they also can be negative. You can see it's still definitely not perfect, but the resemblance is much better. The problem with image weight is image weight always leads to the style degradation. You can see that here are some anime outlines. The background is more detailed, like in a real anime. And these pics are much more generic. Image weight always pessimizes the overall style. Sometimes Midjourney even gets very lazy, and if you ask to add a dinosaur to this picture, Midjourney would not create an Indiana Jones, it would just put a poster somewhere behind. The next way to make the resemblance better is using multiple reference images. So this is one reference image, the same, plus one text prompt, cyberpunk this time. And this is 3 reference images from different angles, plus the text prompt. Still not ideal, but once again, this man resembles the original much more than those guys. And you can see that the style, the application of style stays the same. One more thing to say out loud is the way to work with the text prompt combined with the reference image. If you saw any tutorials on that, they always tell you that you should describe what you should get. Like this guy plus a photo of a short bearded braid man in blue short, something like that. I have conducted a series of experiments, and I can tell you that this is completely not true. Let's say we want to put this man in a chair. This is image plus a photo of a man in chair. Okay, this one still has some resemblance. Those are completely different people. Let's make the prompt even more specific. One reference image plus photo of a man with short gray beard, blah, blah, blah. Completely different image, completely different people. The thing is, the more specific you make the text prompt, the more pessimized the reference image gets. And in this case, even if we add image weight, it would not make much difference. So the way to get it is just say reference image plus in chair. This is definitely the guy from the original picture. Everything I have said about working with portraits stands for objects. Oh, I'm sorry, I have forgotten. I have one more thing to say. This is a perfect time to mention permutation and repeat. With those curly braces, you can create batch prompts in just one line. So basically, this is image plus T-Rex riding A, bike, train, whale, with image weights of 1.9, 1.5, and 2. After hitting OK, you will get all the generations from all the possible combinations of those commands. Since you have to try and try and try, sometimes you just hit reload with the same prompt to get a more relevant result. So this would save you a lot of time. If you create a personal avatar, you get your image reference, you get some text prompt, and you put repeat to 10, maybe 20. Go get a coffee, and then out of all the generations, you will get maybe 1 or 2 that would be nice. But still, this is impressive speed. So getting to physical objects from people. This is a famous Lithuanian landmark, and the example I've been using since Midjourney version 4. This is the Gediminas Tower in Vilnius. This is how Midjourney pictures it with a simple text prompt. Here is text prompt plus 1 reference image. Okay, we're getting closer. This is the text prompt plus 3 reference images. Basically nothing changed. And this is basically nothing changed because this text prompt has pessimized the reference image weights. And the best result I could get is from a simple text prompt, neutral, 3 reference images, and the image weight put into maximum. Well, something of the sort. I actually challenge you to try and generate maybe this tower, maybe another object from the real world, not the Eiffel Tower, but something from the city you're in, and try to get as close as you can. The other problem I've mentioned too, the second is generation will always inherit some details, and those will be some details, you'll never know which. And that basically means that your reference images would work best if they represent what you want to see. For examples, here is a brontosaur plus a ferret. They are 2 pictures of the same composition, 1 animal in the center, and those animals are kind of long. So this is the result. This is relevant. I kind of expected a huge furry brontosaur, but a ferrety lizard is okay. This is an example of a style transfer. Once again, this is basically the same composition. 1 object in the middle, 1 combined object in the middle. And once again, you can see that there's a folk lizard. But when you have 2 completely different images, not connected by composition, by the scenery, like in this case, we have a dinosaur and a graphic designer. We don't get a graphic designer dinosaur. We just get some strange mixture. And this is what we get from a reference image plus a text prompt. You can see that Midjourney can interpret the results, and it's once again quite acceptable. This is a good place to talk about seed. And I hope you will forgive me if I'll burn a minute of time with the theory, because I find it really fascinating. There is a pre-coding theory of consciousness that basically claims that our mind has a preconception of reality, that it updates constantly, and when you look on something, you just apply the template, and then with the analysis from the sensoric system, our brain updates the results and clears all the differences. That's why we basically can look on a noise screen, like we can look on a cloud and see something in the cloud, see an object. This is exactly how Midjourney works, because it starts with the initial mesh or a noise, a parallel noise, which is a depth map and basically looks like a cloud. And then Midjourney tries to see in that cloud what you have prompted. So in theory, maintaining the same seed, which is coded by a numeric value, a random value, in theory, it should get you more alike results. So like in this example, you can see a T-Rex on the beach. We have generated him with a seed. And then we wanted to create the same crocodile, but at night. So we create an updated prompt of the same seed, and it should get you closer results. In this case, it actually succeeded because in the lower right corner, we have a toy. And in this upper right corner, we have a very distinguished square-faced dragon. And this is what you get from another seed, from another generation, with completely different crowd. But everything worked in Midjourney 4, and then it basically stopped. We don't know why. I haven't seen any official claims, but I have seen people videos on YouTube with basically the same problem. As I see it, this is just the initial screen for Midjourney, and basically it always tries to see something else. I will demonstrate it on a closer to work example. Let's imagine we want to create a series of icons for a cafe, for a coffee shop. So I started with a cashier, digital illustrated icon. I kind of like this one. I have specified the seed. And in theory, the same seed would give us the same result, but with the barista digital icon, we get something completely different because Midjourney knows a barista from different images, and that's how he imagines a barista in this type of icons. We can add a waiter. Once again, even we maintain this, we have maintained the same seed. We basically get absolutely random result. I have made another experiment with a reference image. I have found this girl, a cute illustration style. I have created 2 tries, one with a barista, one with a waiter. Okay, they are close. I like this picture. I like the rosy cheeks. So I have asked Midjourney to mail me the number of the seed. You can do that by getting by adding a reaction to the message in Discord bot. It should be the envelope, an icon called envelope. By the way, this is the quick way to upscale all 4 generations from a try. And so this is the result. This is the waiter digital icon with the seed. This is a barista icon from that seed and the reference image. Okay. We have some resemblance. We have the rosy cheeks. I think I could use this image in one series with a little work, but basically no, it's another illustration. And the third try, the cashier is first, it's not a cashier, that's a barista again. And no, we have completely lost the style. Everything we have from the resembling parts we get from the reference image. So you can use seeds to maybe add some resemblance, but you don't rely on it. Can I ask some of the organizers, do we have any time? Okay, I'll just proceed for some time more, and then we'll go to the questions part. This is another example of how you can inherit different parts of reference images. This is a brilliant that came out of a simultaneous try. Apparently, if you add any object to a postcard, you will get a postcard with this object. This is all from an actual case. We were working on smart TV application with recipes and ability to order some food from a grocery store. So that project was completely illustrated by Midjourney, and we had to maintain a specific area. So this is one thing that came out of it. And the second is the knowledge that if you want to transfer a style from a reference image, you should use something with a natural scenery. Like in this case, I wanted to create some food images. So I've taken a kettle, some plants, and adding specific food in text prompts to this image gets me, well, quite a recognizable series of food illustrations. I will run through it very fast. You can use rough sketches to generate something in Midjourney. This is my masterpiece. You still see that Midjourney can interpret. Sometimes getting a sketch will provide you with a better understanding by Midjourney what you actually want to see. I wanted to create a skyscraper that is completely underground. That is from the text prompt, and that is from the prompt plus the sketch I've made. Some stuff I think we will skip and go straight through to the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys. Wait, questions. Now we have only one question. I don't know for Alexandra or for Alexey. Can you show how you made this? I don't know about Midjourney or about our first topic.
I'm not hearing anything. You're speaking.
Let's see if the timing voice.
Yes, yes, maybe Alexandra, it's for you because really after your part.
Still not hearing anything.
Can you show how you made this?
Well, basically, again, not sure that it was for me, but yeah, when you register to ChatGPT or desktop, it's like pretty much easier. You just can to pull your request, and then there would be the result. And of course, if you want to result to be specific, and you can put some specific criteria there. Well, again, not sure what was the question particularly for, but
yes, maybe will be some more information about this question. And now we have a lot of questions in chat. At first, how to make it produce the correct amount of fingers? Maybe it's to Alexey about Midjourney.
Yeah. The amount of fingers is not an issue now. Since Midjourney version 5, everything is fine with fingers. It has some other flows, but it's basically now it knows how humans like look.
Sorry, I don't see. Okay. Next question. What is your favorite image you have made?
Well, to be honest, my favorite is a kind of political. I don't want to speak it aloud, but that is about the happy future I hope we will all see. And as for the second best, Well, I don't know. You see, I've been toying with Midjourney for the last at least 2 months, like manically, and I have created a lot of pictures. This all things fascinates me. This is like we're actually inventing some magic.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Next question. Are there any apps in place that are capable of enlarging the picture preserving quality?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Are there any AI apps in place that are capable of enlarging the picture preserving good quality?
I see. Yes, there are. If by any chance you use Adobe Photoshop, there is a nice enhancer right built in there in the neural filters. But overall, there are plenty online. Just type something like enlarge image AI online. It will get you to a few tools. They basically do the same. They all do quite nice results. Most of them are under some kind of paywall, but most of them have a trial of like 2 or 3 tries.
Thank you. Next question. Do you use Adobe Photoshop AI tool?
Yes, I do. One I have mentioned, but if you're talking about Photoshop Beta and the neural fill, I have seen a lot of pictures. I have never tried it before. I want to get there, but I just haven't got there yet, don't have time. But Photoshop tries to stay on the market because we all thought that it was going down, but apparently not. They are doing a lot of neural researches.
Next question. How these tools from AI could assist a junior designer to grow up?
Alexandra?
Yeah, I believe that's for me. Okay. Basically, first of all, my advice here would be start small and don't be afraid to use it for small tasks. I mean, remember about the variety of different AI tools, and remember that it's not obviously you should use AI for each task, but in order to simplify your work, you can definitely work with that when you're doing some research. Now, if you want to see some templates, right? Because it's really important for, especially for junior designers. And yeah, just work with the request properly. And remember, as much you specify your request, the more detailed would be the answer, it would be the information from AI tools. And try to combine some tools sometimes. And I mean, when I'm working with the theoretical part, some of the slides were not really relevant, not very informative. And to this point, I understand that maybe this stuff is not enough, right? I can do requests for Bing or validate it with ChatGPT. So validation is really important. And as we do with the research tools, right, we can validate research results doing different types of research. Like, for example, doing competitors audit and then doing user interviews or surveys, we are validating our theories. And in the same way, we should validate the data that is provided by AI tools. So those are the advice that came from the top of my head. Hopefully it was helpful for you.
Thank you very much. Next question. Any other AI tools you use?
There is a variety of AI tools. So if we are talking about UX UI tools, I'd say different plugins that have already been mentioned, like Figma plugin, or some also Sketch has its own plugin, and Adobe if you use Adobe, and also it's important to remember that some of the famous libraries like Material Design has its own AI built in. And if we are talking about the search tools, those would be ChatGPT, Bing, again, desktopers for presentations. And again, there is a variety, and some of them are really specific and can do some specific tasks. So I just listed the ones that I've already used.
Next question. Did you try ChatGPT paid version with possibility to search in Google?
I didn't try that yet because for my request, it's enough to have a free version now. But I've heard that it works really better. And if you work with a big amount of data, or your requests need big contexts, of course, the paid version may work better for you. But for my purposes, it's enough to work with the free one.
I have tried the paid version. It is much smarter, but the ability to Google, I'm not sure it's even built in. There are plugins to ChatGPT 4. I actually got into ChatGPT 4 because I wanted it to analyze images, and this is an option that is only provided via plugins, and plugins are only in the early access. It's not on the market yet. So if you're looking for a neural network that works within access to the globe, it is the Google BART. It's not available in Europe, but there are proxies.
And last question for today, maybe. You mentioned Figma plugins. Can you give examples?
Could you please repeat the question?
Yes, sure. You mentioned Figma plugins. Can you give some examples for this application?
Yeah, the most popular, I believe, is FigGPT, like Figma GPT. And yeah, it allows to really work with and really good when especially when you combine it with the other plugin for the Google Sheets, but unfortunately we can't just use Google tools in our project. But yeah, they work good with in a combination. When you need to generate some images or some dialogues, even for a chat, or you are working with the blog and you can generate blog some posts for the blog. They would be with different images, with the different text, and again, the request should be specific, but it also is limited to the settings of the plugin. Yeah, it simplifies work. It makes it faster.
Thank you very much. We don't have any questions for today. Thank you for joining us today, and sure, we send out presentation and our broadcast, and see you to the next IT talk. Have a good evening. See you. Bye.
See you.